Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you like these videos, please click like and subscribe. And if you click the little bell in the lower right-hand corner, you'll be notified every time I upload a video. I would like you to meet Mindi Chambers and her tragic story. The disappearance of 17-year-old Mindi Chambers occurred on October 19th of 1982. She was last seen in Mesa, Arizona in Maricopa County. Despite the passing of 36 years and a possible location of a body, the case is still unsolved. The evidence in this case is circumstance, but the information we have paints a very tragic picture. Mindi Chambers met early life with strife and tragedy. Her mother, Mary Zenas Chambers, left behind a 2-year-old Mindi when she was found dead in the bathtub, and foul play was suspected. Police didn't have enough evidence to jail the suspect, which was her father. Alan Thomas Chambers was Mindi's father and was not an upstanding citizen. He was also the suspect. Suspicion was raised because of defensive wounds possibly found on Alan at the time. He had visible scratches on his arms as if he were in a struggle. Soon after the death of his wife, Alan Thomas Chambers was imprisoned for assault and attempted rape. With one parent dead, the other in prison, Mindi was raised by a paternal grandmother and an aunt until she was 7. Then, Alan Thomas Chambers was released from prison. Despite being a murder suspect and having been in prison for violent acts, he was allowed to take custody of his daughter. Though awarding Alan Chambers custody would prove to be a mistake, her relatives stated that Mindi had ran away multiple times prior to her disappearance. What was even more disturbing was Mindi's call to Child Protective Services. In 1982, she called CPS with a disturbing claim. It was 3 days before Mindi would disappear. She reported that she had been molested by her father for the past 5 years. Police reports show that CPS called Alan Chambers about the molestation 6 days after Mindi went to the police, and he did not respond. In response, Child Protective Services placed her in the custody of her stepmother, who was in the process of a divorce from Alan. However, it did not stop Mindi's possible murder. She walked her 2 stepsisters to school on the morning of October 19th, 1982. By the time the 2 girls would come home, Mindi would be gone. The girls found the front door was open and there was no indications of a struggle, and her purse, ID, and several belongings were left in the house. A clerk in a Circle K convenience store reported seeing Mindi on the date of her disappearance. The clerk reported she saw her make a phone call on a payphone and then leave. According to reports, a green and tan station wagon pulled into the parking lot and the driver grabbed Mindi and forced her inside. Later, Mindi's half-sister would report that Alan Chambers drove a green station wagon at the time. Despite the obvious danger she was in, there was no missing persons report until 1995. No one bothered to report her missing for 13 years. The city of Vidor, Texas, possibly contained a clue and a body in 1984. The body of a girl aged 12 to 20 was found. She bore an uncanny resemblance with Mindi Chambers, but to this day, she's still a Jane Doe. Jane Doe and Mindi both wore braces, had brown hair, and were Caucasian females. The reconstruction bore a great resemblance to the Missy Chambers. However, it could not be proven to be Mindi. Mindi's half-sister even offered her own DNA to test, but there was an issue. Investigators stated they needed paternal DNA, but testing Alan Chambers wasn't an option because he died in an accident when he fell asleep at the wheel of his truck on December 13th of 1994. To this day, this case is technically unsolved. All right, and has gone cold. So the first thing we're going to ask is whether or not Mindi is alive or dead, because that's the first question. I mean, if she's disappeared, we have to assume she's dead, but Could he have taken her, or could she have been dropped off somewhere and taken out of the country somewhere? So we're going to ask, is Mindi Chambers alive? Is Mindi Chambers alive? That's question number 1. Well, darn. That's the 5 of Pentacles, and that's the physical suffering card. So this just tells the story, actually, that look at how the head is buried. This is not the best card to pull for this, but you know what? Oh gosh, and she was taken, stolen away, taken. Oh my goodness. Well, we knew that. These are facts that we knew. We just, she suffered terribly. She's wanting that obviously to be known. And this talks about a different location, taking her to a different location. Now, that card is dumping water. Dumping water. I'm switching to a different deck. I'm going to switch to the Haunted House Tarot from Robin Wood, and ask for a little more details here. So she definitely was kept alive for a little while. She wasn't instantly killed, because there she is with meager food. See how she's feeding? She's rationing out the rats. So wherever she was kept was not good conditions. Excuse me, because there was rats. She's talking about rats. Hands being bound. See the leaves around the hands. Hands being bound, and over the Rainbow Bridge. So she's passed. So she is definitely passed away, because she's happy now, and she's over the Rainbow Bridge. And she's been reunited with family, which I'm assuming would be her mother, probably. Reunited with the mother. So then the question is, who did the murder? Oh my. We have the magician, the manipulator. Yeah, okay. With gloves on, so he was able to cover it up with gloves on. And looks like the cause of death was a knife, blood, I'm going to say stabbing, or slicing her wrists, or slicing something. So the cause of death was that she was sliced. Deception, that's the deception card. So she was definitely, there was definitely deception. And there's the moon, and she's leaving her body. There was a little while that she thought that she could escape. So it looks like at one point she did have an escape plan, but it didn't work. The plan did not work. So this would be the family left behind wondering what happened to her. And see the hand coming out from behind the chair? See that? It's like a skeleton offering a drink. So her family still wonders where she is. Maybe the half-sister and who knows if the stepsisters, but there's still family wondering, where she is. And there was no way out for her. Okay, so there was no way out. So, I'm going to ask Mindi if there's anything that she wants to communicate with anyone listening now. And that is the 4 of Cups. That even though the family appeared together, they appeared to function as a family, they were never a healthy family. And she was always trying to escape. She was always trying to escape, and there she is trying to sneak out at night, constantly trying to get away from the pain that she endured at the house. But here's the veil. She peeks through the veil. She sees that, this might be her half-sister or some siblings or something, half-siblings, and she sees that they're happy. She peeks through the veil, so she's very happy that there's family left behind here that survived. And I was kind of asking in my mind if she was going to, if she's in the bottom of the lake or where is she? And she's buried in a shallow grave. It's not even a deep grave, but it's a remote place. And it feels like the father was familiar with this place where he took her to bury her. And she was buried with a few meager items. There's a few meager items in there. Is it important for you that your body be found? No, it's not. No, she's not really connected to the body anymore. So that's good. And is there anything else that you would want for a message for anyone? And, oh, look at that card. Stand up for yourself. So she feels like she didn't fight hard enough, even though Child Protective Services or whoever did place her back, whoever made the decision to place her back with a violent man who'd been in prison. Why you would do that is, disturbing. And she indicates that she should have fought harder for her rights. She should have fought harder. She knew that he had a history of violence. She knew that he had murdered her mother when she was older. She didn't know it when she was little, but she knew when she was older. And she harbored a horrible anger toward this man. She wouldn't even call him a father. She just said this man. She had horrible, and she should have fought for herself. And she also wished that somebody else would have stood up and fought for her. That's, if somebody else could have stood up at the time and fought to get her safe. But she said, as it is now, everything is forgiveness and love. She's looking down from above. She's at peace with all of this. She's made peace with all of this, and she's moved on. And that's a good thing, actually. And she's very excited that I came through. And she said others have also come through and channeled her. So she's very excited that I'm using these cards to go to the other side of the veil. And that she feels, this is the Justice card. She feels that justice has been served on her father. So we'll just pull a card and see what that's about. Because she feels that justice has been served, but he died before it was served. So this is interesting to me on how she feels that it was served. She's in a good place with the angels. And of course, she's no longer, being like molested. That's the woman in bed. She's no longer being molested, which that was the most disturbing part of her life. And now this is interesting because she's peeked in and see her peeking in on the father, and he's just lost. He's like an earthbound lost spirit. He's miserable. He's searching for the way, doesn't know where he is. He's in a very dark space on the other side. So she just peeked and saw that he was in this dark state, and evidently that gave her enough satisfaction that he is like pretty much in a punishment type of state over there by his own doing. He's just remained earthbound, still wandering around searching for things. And so if I ask my Robin Wood deck, is there anything that we can do for Mindi, or does she feel good about what happened can be the past? She can let go of it. And they said yes. This is the card of, whoa, that's interesting. The spinning ace. So she is in spirit. She has changed in spirit. She's not the same young woman that she was. She's very strong in spirit. She's very happy. And so, this story, although there's no physical body, she's not attached to that. And she's in a good place on the other side. And I think that is the most important thing in these cases. Sometimes we think, oh, you have to have a body and you have to have closure. But in this case, she doesn't really feel that it's necessary to locate her body and that everything is fine. And those who are left behind that still do think of her and still do care about her, she sends them love and hugs and wishes them the very best. And I want to thank each and every one of you for listening to this. And Mindi also, it just keeps her memory. By you listening to this and me speaking about this and the cards bringing her through, it just allows her memory to know that this beautiful young woman with a tragic ending, she hasn't been forgotten. So thank you for checking in and making sure that this woman is not forgotten.